Welcome back to Lawn Care with Daryl, and this year we're tackling a renovation. Just a little bit of information about the renovation. It's about an 8,500 square foot renovation, so it's a pretty good size reno. The history on the property is it hasn't had anything done to it for 30 years. It's majorly infested with every kind of weed you can imagine, and it's only been cut periodically every few weeks during that time, so nothing's been done to it. So prior to getting into this, the first thing you need to understand, we're doing a reno, you're doing any seeding, is don't bother if you're not going to water. If you have no irrigation, you must solve that problem. Otherwise, there is no reason to bother with a full-blown renovation or even overseeding if you really want to get anything out of it. You really need to deal with your irrigation issue. Now, we're also going to do a soil test before we get started. Now, we're not so worried about where the soil is right now because we're going to be hitting it with the major fertilizers, NPK, starter fertilizers, and those sort of things. So it's just an idea so we know where we're starting at for next year, because we'll be tweaking the lawn a little more as we move forward in its progression after the seeding. The next thing after that, which is probably the first thing we're going to do as far as in the lawn, is we're going to smoke it off. We're going to completely kill everything, and it's going to take about 2 to 3 apps from the backpack sprayer. We're doing it's an 8,000 square foot reno. So, we're doing a battery backpack sprayer for most of the stuff. And we'll be doing 2 to 3 applications of the herbicide to burn it off. Make sure you read your label rates, follow your applications and everything, because we need to make sure that this is done well in advance so it's out of the soil and not mess with the seeding. After we smoke it off, of course, we're going to remove all the dead vegetation, anything that happens to be there, and we'll be using a power rake. And then following in a lawnmower, we'll be scalping it, power raking it, vacuuming it off, different things just to remove all the dead vegetation. After that, you want to get your dirt right for the seeding process, and you really want your dirt tilled up, aerator, tilling, whatever you have. We'll be using a tiller here on this one to get the soil torn up and prepped 6 to 8 inches down. Now, we're dealing with a concrete yard. This yard is hard as a rock, so another important part of the irrigation system is we're going to have it designed early, because we're going to be getting this ground wet before we put a tiller on it. At least a week of good watering and raining just to try to loosen up. We're in Central Virginia, and tomorrow we're going to be 100 degrees without the heat index. It's hot, so we're not doing any work now, but we're prepping for it. So right after that, we're also going to be adding in, after we get the dirt right and tilled up, we'll be adding some nutrients. Mainly I'm going to be adding some humic acid to it just to kind of help it along. And then we'll be ready for seeding. We'll be using the GCI Turf Tall Fescue with the Kentucky Bluegrass Blend. And we'll be applying that with a broadcast spreader, and then using a slit seeder to get our seed to soil contact. And then we're off. Watering, we'll talk about the watering setup for the germination period, and there we go. So there's quite a lot that's got to take place over the next several weeks. So please join in. Just like to remind everybody to like, subscribe, hit the bell for the reminders of the new videos, and watch along with us as we do this reno. Thanks.